It amazes me how someone like Roman Polanski, who was actually found guilty of his crimes way back in the 70s, can still float around and still create films and still be held in high regards by many people in the industry, and no one bats or blinks an eye, let alone even utters a word about his past transgressions. Yet Bill Cosby's in jail on hearsay. I'm bringing up Roman Polanski again because one of my subscribers has brought something to my attention, a story of sorts, if you want to put it that way. Now, the last time I talked about Roman Polanski, it was talking about some film he was doing or did, and it went into some kind of film festival. Now I'm pretty much coming at you again with pretty much the same thing, but this time, this film that is being done, what I believe is also the same film from the last time, is being nominated for a slew of awards. Mind you, this guy is still wanted. He is still a wanted man, but he's still able to have a thriving, I guess you could say, career. Just not here in the States, of course. He's overseas. And they know that, and they just let him do whatever it is that he wants. And there is undeniable proof that he is a sick individual. I'm going to go ahead and read this article from Al Jazeera. And it says, mass resignation at France's Film Academy after Polanski row. French-Polish director who was wanted in the U.S. for a statutory rape case tops list for Caesar Award nominations. The entire board of the Caesar Academy, which awards France's equivalent of the Oscars, resigned Thursday, just 2 weeks before its gala ceremony, after more than 200 actors, producers, directors, and movie personalities demanded profound reform. Basically, this person got out because they were pushed out because they allowed Roman Polanski to still be nominated for these awards, knowing that this man should be in jail. He should not have a career anymore at this point, but they continue to allow him to have a career outside of the States. It's like, it's fine. We'll let you have a career. You just can't have one here. Let Bill Cosby try to do something like that. It wouldn't work. As a matter of fact, something like this probably wouldn't even make the news. The entire board of the Caesar Academy, which awards I'm sorry, I was about to read the same part. The Academy had come under fire after director Roman Polanski's new film, An Officer and a Spy, topped the list of nominations for this year's Caesar Awards, which will be handed out on February 28th. Now look at this. Topped the list of nominations, which means out of all the films nominated, this one got the most nominations. Polanski has been wanted in the U.S. for the statutory rape of a 13-year-old girl since 1978 and is persona non grata in Hollywood. In other words, he's blackballed. To honor those men and women who made cinema happen in 2019, to find calm and ensure that the Festival of Film remains just that, a festival, the board has unanimously decided to resign, the Academy said in a statement. This collective decision will allow complete renewal of the board. A general meeting will be held after the upcoming award ceremony to elect a new board and management who will work on implementing reforms and modernization, it said. So basically, this old board was still, like I said, allowing this man to be nominated for awards, knowing of his rather criminal past. And they still allowed this man to be nominated. And I guess enough pushback said, we're going to have to resign that entire board and get a new one in here to make sure that people like Roman Polanski never gets nominated again. He shouldn't be working, period. More than 200 actors, producers, directors, and movie personalities denounced the dysfunction at the Academy and opaqueness in its accounts in an open letter on Wednesday. They also complained that the founding statutes of the Caesars had not changed in a long time, and that the Academy's nearly 5,000 members do not get a vote or say in its decisions. The Academy's board, in response, said it would ask the National Center for Cinema, a culture and ministry agency, to appoint a mediator to oversee deep reform of its statutes and governance. The Academy had previously announced measures to boost female representation and its membership and representation. The inclusion of Polanski's film on the Caesars shortlist was condemned by France's equality minister, women groups, and film critics. But the Caesar Academy said it could not be expected to take moral positions when evaluating films. In other words, they were willing to overlook the fact that Roman Polanski is a sick man for the simple fact that he's a good director. So the fact that he's a quote unquote good director, they were willing to overlook his past transgressions. A number of French feminist groups have urged Caesar voters to snub Polanski's film titled J'accuse in French and called for a protest outside the award ceremony, which is to be held at Paris Salle Pleyel Auditorium. When we mobilize, things happen. Feminist collective Nous Toutes, all of us, wrote on Twitter. Another group, Osez la Feminisme, Dare Feminism in English, said, imagine what's next. A new voting panel without male self-confidence, opacity, and sexism. Will we finally stop applauding rapists and pedophiles on the run? Now, like I said, this is Roman Polanski we're talking about here. We have been talking about Roman Polanski for a long time. And when I say we, I'm talking about the voices of the new black media, because we know the voices of the dead black media and mainstream media ain't talking about Roman Polanski. The last time mainstream media ever talked about Roman Polanski in the establishment was when the Oscars removed his name from the Academy Board along with Bill Cosby. But it's amazing how they removed Bill Cosby on hearsay and removed Roman Polanski the same year, when Roman Polanski should have been removed, honestly, and he was actually found guilty and he fled the establishment and he's still out there. It's just that he has sought asylum, so the U.S. can't go over there and actually extradite him back here, because where he's at, they'll have to give him up, but they're not going to. Sort of like how Edward Snowden is in Russia. He can't leave Russia. He's confined there for the rest of his life until the day he dies. Dare he step a foot outside of Russia, he'll never be able to be protected. Same thing with Asada Shakur. She's in Cuba. She has sought asylum there. She can't leave because the U.S. wants her. She leaves Cuba, that's it. But Roman Polanski, the fact that he's still able to move around and have a career, quote unquote, knowing what he's done, and he actually admitted to this. He admitted in that trial that he raped this 13-year-old girl, and it was proven in court. He was found guilty in the day of his sentencing. He was out of the country and was still able to make movies. And to my knowledge, I think back in the early 2000s, he did win an Oscar. I forgot for what movie. Now, mind you, this was years after that happened. He still was winning American awards, and they knew of his behavior. But they want to Me Too every black man they can find on hearsay. But this man right here, in my opinion, Roman Polanski is the original Me Too in modern Hollywood history. But because he's Roman Polanski and he's a palm-colored male, he's able to do what he wants to do. They're never going to get him in jail, that is. They have him on guilt, but they're never going to get him in jail where he should have been decades ago. But see, I think they also tried to play on that whole thing with his ex-wife, Sharon Tate, killed by the Manson family, Helter Skelter and all of that stuff back in the day. And they try to play on that sympathy thing too, but that's two different spectrums right there. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Have your notifications turned on. I will talk to you in the next one.